Due to sensitive content and strong language, viewer discretion is advised. What's that can of Lysol doing there? I'm trying to use it up. You know, I just got over COVID, so maybe spraying some of this might actually be worth it. But you know what? We don't need that in there. We don't need that in the picture and stuff like that. But hey, you know, there's so much crap going around between COVID, flu, and RSV that maybe a little paranoia is actually a good thing to have as this year draws to a close. Especially with all those people that are going to get so sick this Christmas with something. Because people got political with COVID, and now they're going to get political with everything else. So, you think I'm kidding? Watch what happens with family after family after family at the end of this month. Sound check. Political with everything else. That sounds pretty normal. What is up, everybody? This is Jay, aka MultimediaJay. Chat streaming's not really going to be a thing that I do a lot of, but this will be one of the wild exceptions because technically the week is drawing to a close, the calendar week anyways, wee hours of the morning on Saturday, December 10th, 2022. And we have a little something festering left over from the week that I need to talk about, and then we can finally move on from this. And for me, what that means is videos. I've got that tech video that's been sitting around for way too long, and now we can start talking about the other videos I'm working on as well that I don't know what I want to do when, but the videos being in the doldrums with Geek House Reshuffle September being the last video that I actually managed to complete is not going to be a thing. Anyways, I'm just looking at a few things on Twitch Tracker here. Oh, yeah. Crash. Down these folks go as they stay on the sinking ship. As I stay on the sinking ship that is Twitch. All right, let me just look up one more streamer here, just to look up a couple of things with regards to what's been going. Yeah, it's in there. Yep, it's in there. I don't even have to click. I can just mouse over it and stuff. But we'll just load this one up. There was no title changes. Oh, okay. Now I'm looking at some stuff related to. Well, I think those of you who follow me on Twitter know what it is we're going to talk about today. Well, let's be clear here. You know the example of what we're going to talk about here. So you know the example of what we're talking about here. What we're going to talk about here is something that every content creator needs to learn about sooner rather than later. So any of you folks that get into this stuff, and this is all multimedia meta stuff, of course, but I just got to get this off my chest, so to speak, and we got to talk about this stuff. So, any of you people that get into YouTube or TikTok or Twitch streaming or whatever, there's a certain cage stage, as it were, to content creation. There's a phase you're going to go through where you can very easily run your mouth or do something completely stupid thinking it's going to grow your channel or get you established or whatever, and it backfires big time into your face and makes you look horrible. And then years down the road, when you have some experience, then you look back on it and you just cringe so hard, wondering how you were so stupid you would ever do something like that. I could load up some examples of some very cringy, terrible-looking YouTube videos I did in the mid to late 2000s, but that would be beside the point. I think we all do this, and this is one of those things where when you stick around this stuff long enough, you see it keep coming back over and over and over again. There's a cage stage to content creation. If you know what the Dunning-Kruger effect is, where you think you're smart but you're not, it's kind of like that. There is a stage you will go through, probably very early on, and when you're doing your thing, where you will think that where you will very, very easily look stupid and make yourself and your channel, and if you want to do the building a brand thing, that too, look completely stupid. And it's just a disaster. Let me just load up one more set of Sulinome numbers. Let me just double check before I start talking about this. I want to know how inexperienced are we talking here in terms of streamers yet again? Twitch streamers, they're like the minor leagues of content creation. They haven't been around long enough. I can't even see that because it's crunched together 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 5 years of content creation. Yep. So where was I? 7, 8, 9, 10. What was I in 2011? Yeah. I would have done something this stupid as well, because I was out of the cage stage by 2011, but by and large, what did I even do in 2011? Like 2011 was like a dull year for videos for me. Well, I think his videos were kind of a sporadic thing I only did when I felt like it. I never even had a series until I started coalescing things into vlogs-ish, and then that eventually became the tech videos. And I got some other things in mind, too. The thing is, I'm actually doing more real work at a real job, so basically, I'm kind of going to probably head back towards what I used to be like in the early days of YouTube, where I'm just making videos whenever I can get them done, and just trying to have some fun with my free time the rest of the time. So basically what YouTube is, and make sure they're not time sensitive so people can watch them for years after the fact, which is what you do in a platform as evergreen as YouTube that can't get the live streaming thing totally nailed down. They're making progress, though. They're making progress. YouTube gaming and those emojis and stuff like that. The more, like Peppy Frog type stuff, like the blue guy that I just sent 4 of them into the chat with. My favorite of the new gaming emojis and stuff along those lines. But yeah, can we button this up all the way, or will I feel like I'm like squeezing my neck or something? There we go. Look, I can't get around it, When you get old, there's nothing you can do to stop from looking like someone's dad jumping on the internet. There's only so much you can do. Isn't that how it usually goes? All right. So I haven't done anything on here in so long, except post a few community posts. Of course, nobody's going to be here. But either way, it's also too early for me. I'm usually more late night with this. But anyways, welcome to the Late Night Nerd Lounge. And Discord indicated to me that some of the folks who friend me on Discord are playing some games right now. I don't think they need to go darting away from their video games to watch this. They can just check it after the fact. We pretty much know what these chat streams have turned into. Radio show type podcasty things with on-demand archives and stuff like that. All right. Yeah. So we're talking about content creation cage stage. There's a phase of your anything as a content creator that you're going to go through. And you should know what it's going to be key and very critical for you to learn how to keep your mouth shut and to know when to not chase clout, when to not do anything possible to grow your channel, so that way you don't undercut your potential through something ridiculously, absurdly stupid. And sometimes the consequences are worse than others. There are people who are starting to amount to something that got banned off the platform they were starting to amount to something on because of stuff like this. So before we get to that, though, let's do some shout-outs. We have some subscribers and memberships, and I now have a Big Truck membership alert for Logan. First, though, Simok, thank you for the YouTube sub. And now the new membership alert for Logan, 589XP, Multimedia Dollar Club. Thank you for the 5 months. There we go. Hey, maybe Stream Elements one of these days will fix the alerts so they don't break after 3 or 4 alerts. I don't know. I've been meaning to fix it for like the past 6 months or so, but it's like, all right, so the title tonight, Not Everything is Content. Something that you really have to learn if you get into this stuff. Know where to draw the boundaries and what you will be keeping off your channel. Either because it doesn't line up with what it is that you want to do, or it's going to make you look like such a terrible person that this is going to dog you for the rest of the time you do a public-facing thing like this. Now, I'm not a fan of cancel culture because I think it gets a little unfair to people sometimes. I think life is about mistakes and learning from your mistakes. But I'm not so opposed to call-out culture, where if you cross the line and you do something bad, you deserve to be called out for it. People should be able to say, that's wrong and you need to do better, without you trying to silence them. Yeah, or deflect or say, oh, that's just your opinion, or any of the numerous tricks out there that people do when they run into people who are like this. So, I have probably been as angry and ferocious as I've ever been on any of these platforms on Twitter this past week, because of an incident involving somebody you may be familiar with, because this went all the way into the mainstream media, including the New York Post. The situation involving Jay Streezy and Miyochi over in India. I've been through some disappointing streamer things this year. I say, oh, Twitch streamers, they always start trouble. Yeah, well, I look like the grumpy old guy who's constantly making fun of Twitch streamers, but Twitch streamers constantly do stupid stuff that draws my ire and other people's ire as well. And then they're like, what did I do? Or something like that. As if the Yugi thing wasn't disappointing enough, or the Mackie Phoenix thing, or anything along those lines. Then one of the IRL streamers, who I considered one of my favorites and probably would have watched a lot more this year if he'd streamed more, but there were constant problems with him not streaming, or having time zone differences or something getting in the way, or something along those lines. It didn't quite pan out for 2022. It's kind of sad, though, when somebody that you would consider at one point one of your favorite streamers of all time outs himself as being a completely disgusting, morally reprehensible person who seriously doesn't understand one of the most basic rules of ethics. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. And content creation is no exception to that. Oh, yes, there have been contrarians and edgelords in the pre-internet days, and shock jocks and other people out there who've made names for themselves by going out of their way to make people mad. But that's had drawbacks the whole time through. I got my first warning of this in my broadcast media class way the heck back in college, when a guy from the local TV station was talking about various media personalities. And I found out that day that Howard Stern, a name I was very familiar with, knowing several fans of his growing up in the 90s, Howard Stern, and the 2000s too. A lot of folks in my college were fans of Howard Stern. They'd watch Howard TV when he did his televised radio commentary show that's not style-wise, not unlike what I'm doing with this now, with the blue background and making it like a studio or something. So I don't have a big curly wig, so I don't really have the look down. Plus I'm fat, so that's another story altogether. But it was quite a shocker when I found out that Howard Stern, of all people, was a concealed carry guy and usually had a gun on him everywhere I went. I was like, well, you know, he shock jock, been making people mad for a living for decades. Of course, he'd eventually want to have something to protect himself when you're known for making people upset. It's like, and that was my first warning as to how the world really worked versus the fairy tales and morality discussions and stuff that I grew up with as a kid. So there's often a difference between the world we would like to see and the world that actually exists. And dream all you want, pursue social justice and change all you want. The world you're dealing with right now that you need to deal with is the one that currently exists. That's just the hard truth of it. The facts don't care about your feelings, no matter what you think the world should be like. What you're dealing with is what the world is actually like. So it's a sad reality indeed. You go out of your way, it shouldn't be the case that you go out of your way to make people mad. You're not going to invite bad stuff to happen to you, and you have to protect yourself because bad stuff might happen to you because you went out of your way to make people upset. But it's the world we live in. You know? I don't need somebody to send me threatening emails or DMs to know that I ticked someone off. No. There are people out there that might actually just go do something. Try to beat me up or something. It's like, your responsibilities as a human being do not stop just because you jump on a microphone and try to entertain people or jump in front of a camera or whatever. Your responsibilities as a member of society do not stop. And by law of averages, you will get haters. The mathematics, some people are going to like you, some people are going to hate you. You don't have to do anything out of the ordinary. Just be yourself. And because different people have different opinions, you will get haters as a result of just being yourself. So if you are going to get haters by default, why would you make this even worse for yourself by going out of your way and trying to make people mad? And that is where the logic behind incendiary, contrarian, whatever it is, falls completely apart. It's sad because the advent of podcasting and maybe people who don't have as much of a background in traditional media, who aren't familiar with this, they're going to find this out the hard way. They're going to get that one, I wouldn't even say fan, but that one person that they call a stalker who looks up every single fine detail about them and stuff like that, and then they get involved with sites that do all kinds of bad stuff, and then you now have to get the police involved and get worried about. So it's like, why wouldn't you be careful what kind of person you are and what you are known for? You need to have boundaries with this stuff. No matter how much you think you might be missing out because you didn't jump on some trend or something like that. You need to have your boundaries, draw them, and stick to them. It's that simple. Jay Streezy didn't do that. I'm not going to say this is a Streezy problem, though, because anybody can do this. Like we've said, with problem behavior with content creators, it's the behavior that's the problem more so than the person. Because if you try and pin it to the person, you're not taking into account the fact that anybody can do this stuff, including you. You could be the problem next time if you're not careful. So, we got to learn stuff from this and then not do it. So what's the situation? Well, I do have a viewer discretion is advised on here, because of the sensitivity of the subject matter. If this gets demonetized, oh well, it comes with the turf. There are definitely certain kinds of advertisers that don't want to attach their ads to super sensitive subjects. And that's understandable because that's the way the advertising world works. And that's one of the reasons why these mainstream platforms try indigestion. Maybe I'll get an antacid ad now. But that's one of the reasons why these mainstream platforms try to keep it family friendly, because they're really keeping it advertiser friendly. So here's the situation, and now we're going to get into the heavy stuff. Actually, you know what? Let's not even talk about it yet. Let's just talk a little bit more about the cage stage. Content creation has a cage stage. I'm familiar with it from YouTube and the early days of YouTube. In the phase that YouTubers went through in the late 2000s mostly, where the ethics question was applied to making videos. Just because you could make a video doesn't mean that you should. There was this thing, because people were coming over to YouTube from MySpace, and they were blending together the way you were with a MySpace page with making videos. Because people were coming over with that mindset and stuff like that. There was this era where people would make videos that were either bad quality, made them look completely nuts or whatnot, and just overall learn the hard way that they just didn't have the social skills to really do what it is that they were doing. So YouTube had technical and time restrictions on your videos and stuff like that. And there was this thing where if you had any production value at all, you were ahead of the pack, because so many people were just turning on horrible looking digital cameras or webcams, 2000s webcams, mind you, like 640 by 480, like 15 frames per second, auto white balance. So you shift your head in the wrong direction and the back wall in your house turns yellow when it's normally white or something. All kinds of horrible stuff. But people made content based on what they were talking about or what they were making videos about among vloggers back then. So it was what they were talking about that mattered. But it's even sometimes, even that kind of flew out the window. There's a notable video. I talk about this over and over. Well, before we get to the video, let's talk about the problem with people. Oh, yes. Stretch a bit, baby. I'm sitting forward a bit more than I have quite some time because I haven't streamed in a while. So there's this thing that people did where they'd cross the line behavior-wise, and then people would call them out on it, and they would backpedal and say that they're just acting out of character. It's just acting. It's just a character. Yeah. So you make a YouTube channel and you give yourself some number name. I think even RMake21 got called out for this. You make a YouTube channel and you give yourself one of those number names because you can't come up with a channel that someone else, a name that someone else hasn't already taken. So you do what you want and put a number on the end. And we're supposed to believe when you cross the line and you go too far and you backpedal on what you're doing, that that you came up with a character that is your number name, like so and so 1 2 3 4. That's a good name for a fictional character. No, people saw right through that. You represented yourself in your vlogs until you crossed the line and someone called you out for it. You're representing yourself. Your channel's about you, hence YouTube. The original name of the original motto of the platform was broadcast yourself. You were broadcasting yourself, and you took it too far, and people called you out for taking it too far. Oh, it was just acting. It's just characters. It's just a joke. Damage control in the days before it was called damage control. Early YouTube, baby. When it was the Wild West. And people were finding out the hard way that their social skills weren't up to snuff to treat themselves like a TV star with their little bitty webcam and no experience with anything. So, then there was the video. I never did understand what this one was about. Around the time the AVGN was in his deal with screwattack.com, the irate gamer burst onto the scene. There was an AVGN irate gamer fiasco, blah, 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 blah. And then to kind of, match what the nerd was doing or something, suddenly we find out irate gamer is signing up with this gaming website called Freezecracker. And Freezecracker, the founders were a bunch of kids that, well, at the time they were teenagers. Folks above the age of 20 would have probably called them kids, myself included. But, I know when you're a teenager, you don't think you're still a kid, blah, blah, blah. That's beside the point. So these guys, they found Freezecracker and they signed the irate gamer to try and build another screw attack, so to speak. They signed the irate gamer, and then one of them puts up this vlog, whatever it was, video of them in their room freaking out about something, throwing a temper tantrum and jumping up and down on their bed like a little kid. So maybe they were like, what, 16, 17 years old or something? And they were acting like, or even 18, and they're acting half their freaking age. Like, what? They're acting half their age. Like, what? Seriously? So, yeah, I never did understand that video. Still don't understand it to this day. Was it a parody of Waffle Pone, a.k.a. the greatest freak out ever? A video of that guy, that kid freaking out in his room because his mom canceled his World of Warcraft subscription? Who knows? But I think I'm overthinking it, trying to give these guys any benefit of the doubt whatsoever. But that jumping up and down temper tantrum on the bed temper tantrum video was probably the pinnacle of the YouTube cage stage for early YouTube and people making videos they shouldn't and doing stuff on camera that they shouldn't. But what has changed in the last decade and a half? Not very much. People come in, they don't have a lot of good experience. They do stupid stuff. They try to backpedal, but the cat's out of the bag. Fast forward to today. Here's the situation that got me all upset on Twitter. A situation that I'd like to walk away from and never have to deal with ever again because I don't want to deal with this guy ever again. Jay Streezy, IRL streamer, has a YouTube channel, went viral with something in Thailand, some I'm Lady Boy, whatever it was in Thailand months ago. He made a name for himself by being a streamer that made India work in terms of IRL, despite the technical issues, internet, things being all different over there. I don't want to say goofy, but big cultural differences between the West and India. So he goes over there and he makes a name for himself because he makes IRL streaming work, streaming out of India for a month. And then we fast forward to much more recently. He usually teams up with streamers here and there. He wanted to make this whole year about collabs and stuff. He even almost collabed with me, but there's no content where I am. So he eventually just flew back to Asia after streaming with a few folks in other parts of the country. So there's a Korean streamer named Myochi. She is kind of up and coming Twitch affiliate and stuff. She starts out with gaming and then gets into IRL, somehow becomes friends with Streezy and becomes his tag along for various places that he goes for quite some time. They end up in India, one night in Mumbai. She's out doing streams. Solo Female in Mumbai is the stream title. You can still see it on Twitch Tracker. Twitch Tracker logs stream titles, and even if you change the title, the old title is still in there. So if you're getting weird with your titles, it will be documented on Twitch Tracker. But anyways, she goes out to some place in Mumbai, and that's where the incident happens that goes viral, and a lot of people find out about her for the first time. I don't know how many of you people are familiar with Looney Tunes. I'm familiar with the OG hand-drawn cartoons that were on TV when I was a kid, and Bugs Bunny and Tweety Show and stuff like that, and things along those lines. Nowadays, I understand there are computer-generated animations of the Looney Tunes characters. I don't know if Pepe Le Pew is still around, but Pepe Le Pew, for those of you unfamiliar, a French skunk character, and the running gag in all of his cartoons was he'd fall madly in love with cats that looked like skunks. You'd have this black cat that would somehow get a white stripe painted on it so it looked like a skunk, and Pepe Le Pew would, always female, of course, and Pepe Le Pew would be like, oh, mon chéri, da-da-da-da. That was the joke, literally every single Pepe Le Pew cartoon. It was, maybe it was funny when you were little back in those days. Today, it's as cringe as all hell. Not to mention, very, very inappropriate. You don't want to treat people like that, like suddenly see someone and like try to kiss them in public. It's just like, it's one of those things where a generation grew up watching those cartoons, and this is one of the sources of all those jokes about why on earth did we like that stuff as a kid. It's like with my generation, the millennials. We grew up with the Mario Brothers Super Show and the Zelda cartoons and thought they were cool when we were Nintendo kids. And nowadays, excuse me, princess, is a meme. Maybe a dated meme at this point. But it's just so cringy to watch those Zelda cartoons or the Mario cartoons, just see so how tacky it was. Like, literally every single Mario Brothers Super Show main segment cartoon was a movie parody of some sort. But we ate it right up. What did we know at that age? Right? Horrible. So I imagine at some point the Looney Tunes were probably the same thing for the baby boomers or other generations that grew up with those cartoons. And it's probably the same thing with Pepe Le Pew and characters like that as well. I think maybe more memeable characters would be like Sylvester and Tweety or Foghorn Leghorn or Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd and stuff. But Pepe Le Pew was a total disaster in terms of not ending up cringe a generation later. Now imagine somebody acting just like Pepe Le Pew, minus talking in French, of course. And it's an Indian guy. She's out IRL streaming. This guy goes all Pepe Le Pew on her. Oh, you beautiful. You beautiful. I love you. How old are you? I'm 20. And that's when the incident happens. He puts his arm around her. He, touches her inappropriately, and he kisses her in public. Total stranger. Then he even tries to drag her over to his motorbike and get him on the back seat of his motorbike. And he even tries to get her number. She does that trick that a lot of women do. Give people, the guys they don't want to hear from again, some fake number. I feel sorry for whoever has the fake number. It's like the telephone version of one of my college professors. He typed random numbers in his lectures in order to illustrate IP addresses and how you can go to websites by typing the IP. And he would type random numbers. Then one day he accidentally loaded up a porn site on a 60-inch projection screen in the middle of the college classroom. So he's stuck with fixed addresses from then on for that sort of thing. Anyway, so this guy is totally inappropriate. I see this and I am disgusted. And this is the part where I get demonetized. Because I see this guy doing this. I see the clip after this all blows up and goes viral. And I'm like, oh, look, arrest the fuckers. Hey, pardon my French, but I don't want to hold back. This is disgusting. It's stupid, horrible. I don't even want to know what the guy was thinking. He clearly wasn't. Like, what an idiot. And because I know that part of the world has a bit more social conservative to it and your family matters a lot more than it does here in the West, I was like, show the footage to his mother. Make sure his family sees that. I'm sure his family would probably deal with him a lot harder than the law would. Of course, the cops were called. The perps were arrested. They got bailed out, but I think there's still charges pending and whatnot. But their family bailed him out or something like that. But there's still charges pending and stuff. But it's just disgusting. Disgusting what this guy did to her. It could have just ended at that, but it didn't. It got even more disgusting and insulting. The internet, being the internet, twists things and puts the worst construction on things, as my Lutheran colleagues often say. They'll take something the worst way possible. It's like when I was in high school. If you said something that could in any way be turned into an innuendo or turned perverted, people would do it. Like, let's see here. I'm trying to think of one, but it's been so long. It will usually turn into some like your mom joke or something like that. I don't know, but it's just been so long. Yeah, you get old, you forget stuff. Whatever. So anyways, yeah. So the internet likes to twist things the worst way possible. Didn't take long before the usual idiots out there were like, she did that on purpose. It's clout chasing. It's fake. It's scripted. Those are actors. The usual. No, because people, in the name of jacking their emotions, eventually jack their emotions to where they turn their brains off and they connect dots that aren't there. That's how conspiracy theories work. Get you emotionally worked up to the point where you stop critically thinking about stuff. Jack up your emotions until you turn off your brain. It's a simple trick, but it works over and over and over again. And it's part of the whole crazy making thing that abusive people do to manipulate you. They will try to use your emotions as a weapon against you, and you have to stay level-headed and actually be like level-headed about stuff. It's like a war. Otherwise, they manipulate you and make you look like you're nuts and destroy your credibility. But so anyways, yeah, I would definitely say that the unwanted contact and the kissing and crap like that is sexual assault. Plain as day. Of course, let the justice system do its thing, whatever it does over there. I'm not familiar with it. I don't know how the procedures work. I do know that the folks who had the charges got posted bail and stuff like that. But what got me so disgusted was in the midst of all of this. And not only that, there's also local regional things going on over in India as well. India, I believe even Prime Minister Modi talked about this once. India is a multi-ethnic, giant, 1 billion people strong, huge country in Asia. Because of that, and it has a lot of what imperialism screwed up the world with, and when the imperialism was this thing. It has a lot of problems where people that are very, very different from each other live in the same area. And then the local or regional rivalries or conflicts or disagreements or even violence and other crap come into play. There's things like Hindu versus Muslim versus Buddhist. There's different cultures. Prior to India being India, and even India, Pakistan, that whole thing. But prior to India being India, it was several different kingdoms before the British the British came over. So, and this isn't just something you see with India. You also see it with the Middle East and Central Asia, where countries only exist because imperialists drew the borders, but the ethnic identity is not properly represented there. It's not like what the United Nations would want, which is national self-determinism. An ethnic group gets to have its own country all the time, as opposed to the imperialists forcing people together so the infighting keeps them from challenging the imperial power. Divide and conquer. It was a thing all the way through history. Even the Soviets did it. So it's an ugly political mess. But by this going viral, Miyochi wandered into some regional stuff over there too. And that's one of the reasons why I have the chat and sub only mode, because I don't really, if anybody over in India, it's like 12-hour difference, so it's afternoon over there. If anybody over, I don't want like the people that are starting huge arguments on Twitter to come over and try and start those arguments with me. I'm not involved in what goes on over in India. There's too many cultural differences. I'm in the US and I'm just disgusted at what happened. And I'm even more disgusted by what Jay Streezy did with it. It's not hard to find the clip. I've even sent it, or I had it on my Twitter. So then, as if not to be outdone with her incident going viral, then there's a clip from a stream where Streezy's talking into the camera and he's like, when things are hot, you gotta milk it. Milk, 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 milk. He now has a nickname, the Milkman, because people are angry at him for this, for different reasons, some more justified than others. Myself, I'm disgusted that he decided to make a joke out of sexual assault. You don't joke about that stuff. You just don't. I don't think it's a good thing that the plumbing you're born with affects so much of how your life is going to go in our day and age. Depending, and even more so in other parts of the world. I think it's just, that's disgusting enough as it is. But in the midst of a firestorm of people already not even waiting for the ink to dry on whatever was written up to document the incident, already cooking up conspiracy theories and stuff that it was faked, that somehow Miyochi's responsible for it, for him to come in and just do this and then double, triple, quadruple, quintuple down on it in his tweets and replies on Twitter. It's the most disgusting thing I've seen from a Twitch streamer. And then, of course, he tries to backpedal. Oh, it's just a joke. You don't joke about this stuff. See, I saw the cynicism and the sarcasm, and I thought, oh, he's trying to be like Mizkiff. Oh, wait. Mizkiff has a scandal related to sexual assault going on as well. Can we just get away from trying to grow a channel off of controversy like this? She got banned. Miyochi got banned on Twitch for a couple of days because of this whole mess, too. Typical thing Twitch does, where if an incident happens, because you broadcast it, they'll ban you for it. It's like the IRL streamer that someone ran up and punched him on stream, and they got banned for being punched. So it was one of those things, things like that. But I don't know whether to be disgusted at her not standing up to Streezy, or to be disgusted at Streezy more with what's going on here. Because he's a, milk, milk, milk. Let's milk this thing. Milk this thing. It's terrible. There's entire hashtag movements on Twitter dedicated to people coming forward and telling their stories. Half the time we see a twit longer, it's somebody coming forward with a story about something bad that happened to them. This isn't something you grow a channel off of. And I should know this. Yet Streezy over here trying to be a stream guru about, oh, that's the way live streaming works. You got, when things are going hot, you got to push it. Milk, milk, milk. Really? If he really was the streaming guru that he patterns himself as, he should know that there was a very high profile incident on Twitch about a year ago, middle of 2021, that he should have been able to draw a precedent from. Before we get to that, though, let's deal with the one thing that the conspiracy theorists might have a bit of a point on, and that is that Miyochi did something wrong somehow. The only thing you could say that she really did wrong was by bragging about what she was doing in her stream titles. So I'm looking at Twitch Tracker. Solo female India in Mumbai. So there are IRL streamers who won't go to certain parts of the world because they're concerned for their safety. They don't think it's a safe place to be. They don't think they can stream anywhere. They don't want to be stuck in the hotel at night. That's something I've heard very consistently. So that's something that, and let's load up Social Blade while we're at it. They don't want to be stuck in the hotel, etc., etc. So to some extent, but the thing is, there's no evidence of this. You need to come up with evidence when you make accusations, and the burden of proof is on you. If you want to say this kind of stuff, you can't just, appeal to people's emotions or things along those lines. Let's see here. Yeah, let me check Twitter as well. Let me see the Twitter stats for this. Oh, the Social Blade keeps a lot of stuff on here these days, not just YouTube stats anymore. Let me just see if it's, yep, it's already come and gone there too. All right. So it's just the most tasteless. Let me just load up what I said about that, because I had some really colorful language for that. I had some incredibly colorful language. The only time I've ever said that somebody can F off on Twitter. Horrible. It really was that terrible. Well, why don't we start from the beginning with the stuff that I was talking about, beginning with one of the pitfalls of IRL here. I got to scroll a bit because this has been going on for a couple of days, and I got to get past all the stuff from earlier. All right, you don't milk someone getting sexually assaulted, period. Let's be perfectly clear on that. You don't make a joke out of a crime. You don't, because you're a content creator, you don't. I mean, there's an element of making lemons into lemonade. There's an element of that in play, but the audience you get from something like that is probably not going to be good in the long run, as we'll see shortly. Let's see here. But yeah, even if he was joking, you don't joke about serious stuff like that. It's disgusting and disrespectful. It doesn't help with the ugly truth that this world is a world where the plumbing you're born with does so much to you in terms of where you can go, what you can do. It affects way too much relative to what it is. And it's disgusting that, you have these problems, these women's issues like this. But those comments were the most tone-deaf and out-of-touch Twitch streamer comments I've seen yet. He should also know from other streamer disasters brought on stream that sympathy audiences don't last. Content creators turning lemons to lemonade is one thing. These comments, though, are disgusting and tasteless, especially from a guy tagging along who hasn't even been streaming regularly half the time. Let's continue scrolling here. People asking about potato chips and stuff like that. The clip that got me all ticked off, that led to me very angrily blocking this guy, and you should too, by the way. He's not a good person if he really believes. He's not a good person. Let's just not even question whether it's an act or not. Because what kind of person would do this kind of stuff? Oh, well, yeah, a Twitch streamer, of course. On YouTube, there's way more examples of super successful channels that don't have to be contrarian and antagonistic in order to amount to something. I can give plenty of examples, mostly pets and animals and other stuff, but you can be successful on YouTube without always having to push the limits on things. It's the channels that constantly push the limits that are complaining about, oh, YouTube censorship, YouTube censoring. Why don't you just take a good long look at what you are and what you're known for and ask yourself, why am I known for this? Could I do better? Well, let's get back to this here. I saved an offline copy of this so nobody can try to gaslight me out of what happened here. But, yeah, milk. Yeah, well, sorry, buddy. You don't do that kind of stuff. And you don't do that kind of stuff. And maybe you'll have some people in India clout chasing this, trying to start arguments or troll. But I'm from the US, and I actually believe in respectable stuff, not trying to suck money or something out of all of this. Yeah, not everything is content. So any fans that are still left watching this guy, this is what you're supporting. Collab streamers who are dumb enough to collab with this guy, this is what you're collabing with and attaching your reputation to. A guy joking about a crime. It's ridiculous. You can screenshot things too. If he goes and deletes his tweets, I already got him screenshotted. There's probably plenty of others out there too. You get a mob that's going to follow you around with this for years. Congratulations, you've made yourself another Alinity. You know, or maybe at some point you want to move on from this, probably years later, but the internet is like, hey, you remember this? You did this. You screwed up this. Look at this. Da-da-da. Hey, potential sponsor, don't team up with this guy. Look, he did this. Hey, collab, or don't collab with this guy. Look, he did this. Then let's just ban him. Make new accounts, da-da-da, use VPNs. Now, mobs are mobs are mobs. Mobs are mobs are mobs. You're better off, you're better off not even bothering with the dirtbags. You don't want to be trying to grow an audience off of dirtbags in our world who use the internet for whatever, for that kind of stuff. Either way. But another thing you can do is over on Twitter, check tweets and replies. A lot of people, they might hide stuff by not talking about it on their page, but picking fights elsewhere. Or they might like stuff that's incendiary and antagonistic. But this stuff that he said is just to listen to some of this crap. Let's see. So, some folks in India were trying to accuse him of public drunkenness. I don't care about that. What I care about is this guy making light of something that's incredibly bad for a woman to go through. Listen to this crap. Keep holding on to dear life for relevance. Imagine a foreigner can gain more subs in 1 month than you in your entire career. Wow. Keep watching her every story, every video, every tweet. Keep searching for that sliver of wrong you were so dearly desperate for. You went so far you had to watch another streamer to watch her. Someone is obsessed. Keep being jealous and keep showing everyone you don't understand live streaming or social media. Yeah, how's that? How's that for saying the quiet part out loud? Absurd. And it doesn't work, by the way. Not in the long run. And it's already showing up in the numbers. Now, the reason why I'm not showing anything on screen is because embattled content creators like this often have this thing for DMCAing people for the dumbest reasons whatsoever. So I'm not going to show anything. But you're more than welcome to dig around Social Blade and see what or YouTube, and see what actually happened with Miyochi as a result of this. Because I hate to sound old, even though I am. Back in my day, Sonny, going viral on the internet was referred to as your 15 minutes of fame. And it was referred to that for a reason. Now, we mentioned earlier, sympathy audiences don't last. Now, the reason why, the reason why I'm not too concerned about Miyochi and whether or not what the conspiracy theorists are talking about, like, oh yeah, it was all planned, she's milking it, she's really a terrible person, da-da-da. Basically, they're saying the stuff about her that I'm saying about Streezy with his completely out of place comments. But it doesn't really matter in the long run. It's not worth getting upset about what her motives were, because I know already that it doesn't work. She'll have the veneer of success, but it'll collapse pretty much. I've already seen this. Before. First off, you don't blame victims when bad stuff happens to them. You don't blame the victim. What happened to her was bad. Full stop. What's in play here, though, and this is what irks people and gets people upset with you, is when you have something like content creation and whatnot. And this is why I don't like the whole milk thing. Because it hurts your credibility and it insults the people who've had these bad things happen to them when you look like you're profiteering off of it. Now, the incident I want to talk about with regards to this, about how sympathy audiences don't last, is a wonderful example of this. This is the part where I think we can actually we can actually get involved with this. But before we do, the Miyochi thing did lead to a spike in her socials, to the point where she could probably very easily get YouTube partnership, probably from the watch hours that she picked up during the incident. But she would be required, it's going to be a tough choice for her, because she would be required to maintain partnership goals in order to stay a YouTube partner if she got it. So she would have to make a decision regarding YouTube versus Twitch in order to sustain all that. So I don't know if she's going to even think about things from that perspective. If you go to Social Blade, though, and look for Miyochi, and you look at her Twitter numbers, there's a spike. There's already a spike. That's her follower count. If you look at, look at the followers and whatnot. Yeah, look at the change in the number of followers. It's already peaked. It's already peaked and it's dying off. I don't know if there's engagement on here or whatnot for that, but Twitter has already peaked in terms of the people, doing their thing. If we switch over to YouTube, or if we switch over to Social Blade YouTube, and we see the subscriptions, that's already dropping off as well. The video views have also peaked as well, and they're dropping. You can go look at her channel and see the one video she did 4 months ago, and then everything else was related to this incident, and now we're seeing the views, basically start to drop off. So it's the old 15 minutes of fame thing. You attract a bunch of folks. They're like, oh my goodness, look what happened. But life goes on and people move on. And so when it's all over, you got to ask yourself, was it really worth it in terms of character and credibility? Because there are no shortcuts to this kind of stuff. It's one of the reasons why my channel is the size that it is, because I wasn't doing the gimmicks thing. I wasn't doing gimmicks to grow by any means necessary. I just wanted to make good videos, meet some good people along the way, and, have people actually like what it is that I do. The problem is, if I'm constantly upset about the size of my audience, then I am blowing off the people that are already watching what I make and acting like they don't matter. So that's not a smart idea. I was also looking earlier at Jay Streezy, how long he's been streaming. 2017. So yeah, he's less experienced. And as a streamer, he's definitely less experienced. More experience at IRL. But in terms of total years of dealing with crap on the internet, I guess I shouldn't be surprised that he would flub this so badly. He needs to apologize, though. Draw those boundaries and not cross them in order for me to ever watch his stuff ever again. Because there's certain things you shouldn't try to cash in on. I'm kind of surprised. You'd think that maybe some of the people involved in some of the hashtag campaigns on Twitter would have come over to that as well. Let's see. Sully Gnome. What other Sully Gnome data did I want to look at? Let's see. Yoshi. Let's see. Last 365 days. Well, she was only a Twitch affiliate. No, that wasn't who I wanted. That wasn't who I wanted to get some Sully Gnome stuff on the screen for. It's another guy. It's this other guy over here. All right. Give me the lifetime data for this guy. Okay. This, I think, these I think we can actually, there we go. These I think can actually go on the screen because it's not either of these two, but it's the cautionary tale for all of this. Let's go over to browser mode. Let's link the web browser up to Chrome. And first, let's talk about the platform, Twitch, and one of the big problems that they had. Who's this?
Roger, 10-4. Truckers are rolling this morning.
Hey, Jordan, thanks for the YouTube sub. Let's switch on over to this. Let's switch on over to this here. So, Twitch has had dips around Christmas time. December of 2020, December 2021, and then there's another big dip around December, around Thanksgiving. So, as the first notable end-of-year holiday in the U.S., at least, with all the other stuff that's been going on, as a first notable U.S. holiday with this kind of stuff, Thanksgiving was basically the first holiday after President Biden was like, yeah, the pandemic's over, but we still have a COVID problem. I don't know what's going to happen with all the respiratory stuff going around, but people went off and did other stuff, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Thanksgiving weekend, obviously, instead of watching Twitch. So are we going to see now these dips around Thanksgiving and Black Friday and that holiday week, similar to what we normally see around Christmas? We know that Twitch has been in the skids for most of the year. They've also had bad press, scandals, other crap going on, scaling back operations in Korea, and all kinds of other things that have insulted both content creators and viewers alike. So I don't consider Twitch to really be the sort of place you should even, as if it wasn't already a problem to grow on Twitch, it's going to be even more of one now, especially as you see people get more and more wound up about declining numbers and then viewers going away in like fashion because they're sick of seeing Twitch damage people's mental health, and then it damages their mental health because the happy streamer they knew during the lockdown period is now anxious all over the place about literally everything and banning people for stupid reasons and stuff along those lines. So you have all this going on. Now, there's a streamer that had a sympathy audience in the middle of 2021. And his name was Mikey Perk. And here's the scatter plot of him streaming. So he started streaming in 2018. So let's actually bounce this forward to about February of 2018. So this all spreads out a little more along the graph. Twitch affiliate with like 10 concurrents or whatnot most of the time. And then this giant spike when his daughter went missing. The Find Sarah campaign over on Twitch happened when his daughter went missing. And it caused a firestorm of people who were questioning his credibility, thinking that tell me if this sounds familiar. They thought the missing daughter thing was fake and that he was just chasing clout with the whole missing daughter thing. And they were angry at him for milking something bad that happened. His daughter going missing. Sound familiar? The issue with the Mikey situation, though, was that he got his Twitch stream involved. Stretch out a bit. I've been sitting too long. I got to get back to making videos, man. Anyways, the incident, what was going on with this guy? People were questioning his credibility, specifically because, heartburn, yuck. People were questioning this guy's credibility because he took it to his Twitch stream. Now, all the conversation and all the hollering back and forth was about him bringing this stuff to his Twitch stream. But he also brought it to Facebook. He also brought it to his Facebook. Facebook versus Twitch. Facebook, much larger platform. More importantly, much more geographic platform. So if you wanted something that started close to home for him and not random people from all around the world, you'd want to go to Facebook first, as opposed to Twitch and Twitter. But because he was a Twitch streamer and this got him some viewers, people around this time were questioning his credibility and everything, and it left a bad taste in a lot of folks' mouths. And here's what happened. Things dropped back down, and I believe a couple of months ago he was talking about switching to YouTube, and I don't know if he even streams on Twitch anymore. I think he just does YouTube, all YouTube stuff now. So, it's not called the 15 minutes of fame for nothing. It absolutely isn't. It's not called the 15 minutes of fame for nothing. And so, when these things come and go, you got to ask yourself, was it all worth it? You know, for what people think about me now, or, you know, what I'm known for now. Was it really worth it to do all of this? So, something that we have to think about with regards to this. You got to know where to draw the line with this kind of stuff. Not everything is content. Not everything is content. And there are no shortcuts, quite frankly. There are no shortcuts. And this whole crapshoot going viral dumb luck thing has been a thing on YouTube all the way back to the mid-2000s. You know what one of the first issues was with YouTube back in the day? Companies seeing viral videos become a thing wanted to find a way to manufacture a viral video. It never worked, of course, because you can't manufacture viral videos. But fast forward to today, and you have an entire cottage industry of YouTubers calling themselves content gurus and stuff, who will talk to you in video after video. Some of them kind of looking like each other, as we make fun of on here quite a bit. They will make, you will hear over and over and over again, these people tell you that there's some secret formula you have to figure out in order to grow your channel. The truth of the matter is the dumb luck side of it never completely goes away. It never did completely go away. It's still a thing to this day. You can't manufacture virality. It just happens. Does that mean you milk it when it does happen? No. Depends on what it is. You always got to ask yourself, what might be the unintended consequences if I run wild with this? And also you got to ask yourself, do I really want to support this? Is it in line with what it is that I want to do? I mean, I'm over here as somebody who has had appliance videos go viral. But that's not really what I'm all about. So I was just like, let it be what it is. I mean, if I had been Mr. Milk about all of this, I would have walked away from what I really am passionate about. That is technology and presentations and fiddling with electronics and playing video games and stuff, to become a YouTube answer to like the Maytag repairman or something. I would walk away from stuff that I really want to do and that people like when I do this stuff, just a smaller audience, to looking like yet another sellout, just chasing trends and just caring more about numbers than people. And how many times have I said, as somebody who works with data and analytics, numbers are arcane and synthetic until you know what goes into them. They are. Now, if you have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, what does that mean? Does it mean that you had some screwball giveaway, sub to me for a chance to win, blah, 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 which might even be TOS nowadays? Does that mean you had some screwball giveaway and a bunch of people subbed to you for the free stuff and you never heard from them ever again? Or does it mean that 1,000 people genuinely like what it is that you do and watch and enjoy and stuff like that? That's almost never the case, by the way, just by the way life works. But that's a thing. Not everything is content. Not everything is content. You got to know where to draw the line. Now, Streezy needs to learn this lesson quickly. Because there's going to be drama when all of this falls apart. And Miyoshi has some really tough decisions to make now. I think, right now I'm not associating with anything she does because she's still under Streezy's umbrella. I might check out what she does when she gets away from Streezy. What happened to her was awful. What Streezy has done with it is probably almost as bad. You don't do this type of stuff. You don't joke about people being victims of crimes. You just don't. You don't insult the other victims out there who don't have a platform that grew rapidly because of that. There is an element of lemons into lemonade, but is it really going to be worth it if you gain a bunch of followers in the long run when we can see right now through Social Blade and other numbers that the surge has stopped on Twitter already and it's slowing down on YouTube? And that now what? Now what with that? Like, she's got like 160,000 subscribers on YouTube now. When are they ever going to show up again after all this is over? So are we going to be looking at, in like a couple of months, her with 100-something thousand subscribers and barely anybody watching her videos and getting, upset about, oh, I got all these people that aren't here anymore, but they won't unsub. Welcome to the wonderful world of YouTube and the growing gap between views and subscribers, except you actually did something that made this happen. By milk. That assumes that anything happens with the YouTube channel either. Anyway, so she's got a decision to make. The way Twitch treated her was garbage. Twitch is in the skids. Does she make the switch to YouTube because she'll need activity on her channel to hold on to partnership if she very easily gets YouTube partner with 4,000 public watch hours from all of this? She already has the subscribers. So if anything, she gets an easy YouTube partnership out of this, but she now has a decision to make about whether she should just go all in on YouTube. Because you have to maintain that. If she doesn't do anything on her channel and the view amounts drop down, you do eventually get an email from YouTube about you might get departnered if you don't post enough or you're not getting enough stuff to stay in there. It does happen to people. But either way, we'll see what happens. Streezy, though, forget it. I cannot, in good conscience, have anything to do with people who even joke about having this kind of an attitude. Because, once again, we're talking about something that is people are trying to make it look like this is a content creation thing. Oh, it's how streaming works. Really? Really? That's how Twitch streaming works. On Twitch, there's a group of people that try to bend the rules and push the boundaries. But on YouTube, there's so much of a wider variety of stuff to watch that this whole self-obsessed personality thing of people pushing the limits isn't the only way people amount to something on here. And YouTube actually is a bit more aggressive in certain ways with some of that clout chaser or other types of content too. But these people, by the way, who are constantly pushing the limits are the reason why we have like Puritan rules about things like community guidelines on YouTube these days. Because as a company, YouTube had to make the decisions regarding what this does to their brand. And IRL streaming has had plenty of that for years now. People barreling around with cameras everywhere they go, acting like IRL is some kind of license to take a camera everywhere you go and film it all. It is not. Twitch had to reform some things, and they even deprecated the IRL category in order to, because of this stuff. I mean, when you get to the point where a guy who goes barreling around with cameras gets a plane grounded because somebody calls in a bomb threat to the plane, then you got problems. So you're like, oh, why is Twitch so hard on IRL streamers? The category's deprecated. Twitch rolled out just chatting and stuff like that to try and get streamers more into like staying home and talking with people instead of barreling around with cameras, potentially causing problems for the brand and stuff. Thing is, though, YouTube had this too. I remember one day the algorithm sent me a documentary about IRL streaming. I was like, is this yet another Ice Poseidon thing? No, it wasn't. It was about some people on YouTube that were IRL streaming around the same time, but nobody knows about them because Ice Poseidon stole the show with the plane incident. What these people did was worse, but it slid under the radar because of the whole plane thing. So it's fundamentally, IRL is just fundamentally problematic, you know? It's just fundamentally problematic in some ways. But this boundary pushing thing, it's not the only thing here on YouTube. You can build an entire presence on here based on something constructive. Not going around making people mad. Not going around making people uncomfortable with cameras everywhere you go. Not going around looking like some stuck-up whatever, finding ways to cry about the fact that you were lucky enough in life to be able to make full-time income off of walking around pointing a camera at you everywhere you go. Congratulations. Boo-hoo-hoo, I swear it's terrible. I'm going to find ways by any means necessary. Yeah. I'm sure that your audience of people with real jobs and real problems are really going to appreciate that. Well, you know, the people that can't, you know, do this kind of, they have to put up with a bad boss or a job that's breaking their back or whatever it is. Yeah, I'm totally sure the people will totally want to throw money at you and you're acting like the celebrity in the Brad Paisley song. When you're a celebrity, it's adios reality. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. So what can I say? Yeah. This whole incendiary, whatever you want to call it, is not the only way to amount to something on YouTube. You can be known for having fun. You can be known for being chill. You can be known for nature videos. You can be known for pets and animals videos. You can be known for having skills and stuff like that. Now, Twitch has this, but it's nowhere near as fleshed out as it is on here. Because Twitch is still very much a gaming platform. You see it in their advertising. Time and again and again and again and again with their partner spotlights. What are they showing? Gamers. They tried, but they couldn't do it. Majority of the traffic is still gaming related over there. The expansion categories are like, look at me. But gaming still rules the roost. Over here, things are more general purpose. So you'll see a little of everything. So you don't have like this popular kids high school crap with a bunch of trendsetters. I mean, if you watch the Streamy Awards, you might see a bunch of big YouTubers getting pats on the back and attaboys, but it's nothing like the streamer click. Ugh. Someone's going to clip that out of context. It's nothing like the streamer clique of cool kids, whatever you want to call, grown-up cool kids, so to speak, that you see on Twitch. But then again, you're talking big fish in a small pond. With like, have the Statista numbers on largest social media, if I don't flub any more words that turn into clickbait, Statista, largest social media platforms by monthly active users. Global social networks ranked by number of users. The data, the data set was updated in July. This data set was updated in July, but it still hasn't changed. Twitch is still not on the list. Oh no, that's January 2022. Or is that the name of the title? Where did I see July? Global social networks by number of users published by S. Dixon, July 26, 2022. So why does the title still say January? Release date, January 2022. Okay, so that's why the numbers are the same. Yeah, Twitch. Blippo little 100-something million MAUs versus the billions you see on YouTube and Facebook. Enough said. Yeah. All right, 2 o'clock at the Geek House. We're going into a weekend. I want to play games and make videos. What it all boils down to. Plus, I'm almost out of drinks. Might do some game streaming, but I've mostly been playing Star Wars The Old Republic, playing a little catch-up with that game and going through the story content. Also going to do some story stuff on ESO to help 100% complete that game out as well. And I've got videos, multiple types of videos that I want to make. Some of them are more time-sensitive than others. So yeah, not everything is content. Content creation is about drawing boundaries and not crossing them. And there are some things that just won't be good for you in the long run, like joking about people that are victims of crimes. No. But the sad truth is there's people that do this stuff wrong that have audiences, and that tells you everything you need to know about the audiences. And there's people that do stuff wrong that still find ways to land collabs, and that tells you everything you need to know about the people collabing with them. It's terrible. But hey, as we see from rip-off products and various types of woo-woo that's out there, and all kinds of other garbage like that, there are enough suckers in the world that will fall for the scam time and again and again. Sad. It really is. But yeah. Part of maturing as a content creator is knowing where to draw the line and sticking with it. Speaking of drawing the line, this is the extent to which I want to talk about this crap. So let's move on. Because like I just got done saying, it's not just the incendiary stuff that's a reason that you can amount to something on YouTube. So why don't I practice what I preach? Well, folks, can you believe it's December 2022 already? I sure can't. Whatever. Holiday humbug time. I even got to decorate the tree still because it's that lovely time of year again. All right, I got stuff to do. It's better than being bored. All right. Until next time, this is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for stopping by.